Hello and welcome to Estate Agency Experts, where we chat with top property professionals about the latest trends shaping estate agency. Recruitment is one of the biggest challenges estate agents face. Finding and keeping the right team members can make or break your business. And that's why I sat down with Josh Rayner, founder and CEO of Rayner Personnel, the UK's largest property recruiter. Josh shares insider knowledge on tackling high staff turnover and boosting retention, hiring smarter to attract top negotiators and managers, and building a supportive company culture that retains talent long term. If you're eager to learn practical steps to strengthen your team, or just simply curious about the future of recruitment in a estate agency, this is a conversation for you. Hello, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about estate agency recruitment and how estate agents can overcome some of their common recruitment challenges and attract the best staff. Who better to talk to about this than Josh Rayner, founder and CEO of Rayner Personnel. Hello, Josh.
Morning, James. How are you?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well. How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you very much for the kind introduction.
So, for anyone that's not aware, Rayner Personnel is a specialist recruitment company for estate agents, the UK's largest property recruiter. Before we sort of delve into it, Josh, do you want to give us a little backstory about Rayner Personnel?
Yes, of course. So Rayner Personnel is 13 years old, and we specialise in everything property. So sales, lettings, land new homes, financial services, and prop tech. And we've got national coverage with 24 franchisees up and down the country, work with some really big household names as well as market leading SMEs.
Lovely, thank you. So before we sort of get into what we want to get into today is some actionable specific steps that estate agents can take to improve their recruitment processes and effectively just hire and keep better staff. Before we get into that, I just want to talk about the problem, basically the issue that estate agents have. In my role as an IT account manager for estate agents, it is something that comes up on a regular basis. I mean, estate agents really do struggle with hiring the right people, but also retaining people, making sure they're keeping their best staff. What are the biggest problems that you see that estate agents have in terms of recruitment?
I think as an industry, the industry isn't as sexy as it once was. If you look back to the early noughties, the Foxton's era of John Hunt driving a supercar at the weekends, earning £250,000 have gone, and they probably won't return at all. There's lots more red tape in regards to compliance, and there's lots more hours, and therefore the industry, I think, is changed. And because of the low basic salary, it's not as attractive to younger people like it once was. So I think we've got a big issue around salary. That obviously always stems from something, and that is unfortunately the fee the agent charges in the first place. And it's been driven down and down and down over the last 20 years that I've been in the sector. So it needs to change to increase that fee so agents can then pay. So as I say, pay a more better rate to their people. So I think we've got a big issue. We're also losing about 20% of our people each year. That's due to retirement. That's due to people moving to different sectors, and that is an issue. It's a leaking bucket that we need to plug and pretty quick. So I think it's a battle out there for talent. I call it the war on talent, where agents are fighting to get the best people. And I think agents as well typically hire with their heart rather than their head sometimes. If they remind them of them, or they see a little glimpse of themselves in there, they hire for that and maybe not for the particular role. So there's lots of education I think that we could do to assist our clients and that other leading property business out there to hire smarter. I think is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, definitely. And in terms of churn, sort of keeping good staff, is that something that you hear a lot about as an issue?
Absolutely. So the average attrition rate in the UK property sector is 48.6%. That's a huge number, nearly 50%. And that means if you hire 10 people in January 2025, and by 2026, you only have 5 of them left. So that's a big issue. So retaining good people is equally as important as finding them. Clearly, there's no point finding them if he can't keep them. So there's lots of different ways, clever ways that we're seeing, our clients are seeing, that are keeping good talent, which I'm more than happy to, I'm sure we cover in this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're here to talk about, isn't it? It's how we can resolve those issues. Those are the two big issues, isn't it? It's finding the right people and keeping them in the business.
Correct.
So yeah, let's dive into it then. So what are some actionable, like, specific steps that estate agents can take? Let's start with finding the right people to get the best talent through the door in the first place.
So I think estate agents are very good at, guess what, selling and renting houses. They are not a recruitment business. They are not a people attraction business. But something they are, and something they're better recruiters than me, which is fascinating. I don't claim that I'm the best estate agent out there, and nor would I want to. But I do think agents are very good at what they do, which is to sell and let properties, and we're very good at what we do, which is to find and headhunt individuals. So I think as a business, we go out there and 86% of the candidates that we place are headhunted. They are literally, we do lots and lots of research, market share analysis. And on the individual to make sure they're not job hoppers, they've got the right amount of skill set, etc., to be successful. And we hone down that search to probably 5 or 6 people within a 10-mile radius that could be suitable. And then we headhunt them people in their offices. That means cold calling. Would you like to earn more money? Would you like better prospects? And would you like a better work-life balance? If you can hand on heart give somebody them 3 things, guess what? They'll probably have a conversation with you. So that's our expertise, going out there and headhunting people. I think where agents get it wrong is they think that the best person in the world is going to apply to a job advert on Indeed that particular day, that particular month. Actually, they're probably the ideal person is head down working for one of your competitors. Not only have you got the local knowledge, the skill set, the experience, they're also probably working for a competitor. So you've also weakened one of your competitors as well and got that revenue from their bottom line onto yours, which again is a massive win for the market share stats. In regards to keeping good people, I think that stems from a great company culture. There's lots of different ways you can build company culture, whether that's looking at your employee value proposition, so your EVP, whether that be well-being. We spoke about before this call around mental health. There's lots of mental health in our sector. You've got to be a very resilient person to be a great estate agent. You've got lots of stuff on social media, you've got lots of stuff happening in your personal life. You're going to have lots of stuff in your business life. So having a great EVP from a well-being mental health support line, I think would be worthwhile looking at. But also, we've got lots of clients that use Perkbox and other benefit and rewards platforms that encourage people, whether that's a shout out for your birthday or a shout out for having a top billing month, whatever it may be. But it gets, I think, people together. And one of the things that I was witnessed last month as I went over to a client's award ceremony up in Warrington. The culture there was electric, and walked into the room, everybody was all around the company, all around progression, all around helping each other, and that was around empowering people. So at an award ceremony, these members of staff went up and was talking about their team, and they literally came up and what it was like to work there. So lots of things I think you can do, not just that cost the business money, but you can empower people to be better versions of themselves and bring people up with them. So there's lots of things you can do. Culture, I think, is where it starts. There's lots of things you can do to retain great people.
And that must help with, finding people as well. If you've got that culture and, you've got these award ceremonies, everyone loves working there, there's this great atmosphere. That must really help when you're trying to find people as well, because especially if you're shouting about it on LinkedIn and social media and things.
Absolutely, they go hand in hand, and celebrating success is good as well. And I don't think agents need to worry about, if I shout about it, I might lose that person, because a recruiter or a company might see that name on LinkedIn. There is clients, one particular big company in London, I won't name, that actually ban their staff from having a LinkedIn account because they're worried and scared of them being sort of taken offline and put into another role. But I think you need to celebrate success. And people love the adulation of well done. So, yeah.
100%. What are some common mistakes that you see estate agents making when they're doing recruitment specifically, when they're trying to find new talent?
The biggest one is hiring when you're hungry. And you might have heard me say that before on a podcast beforehand. But I think it's the good old shopping analogy. So when you go food shopping, grocery shopping, when you're hungry, you normally end up buying the stuff that you can't really make a dinner with, or you're missing a couple of ingredients. Normally it's the stuff that isn't very healthy, and it might just give you a quick fix now on the way home, but you won't be able to make your chicken curry in the evening. It's the same kind of thing. So agents typically hire when they've got a real need. My branch manager's walked out. I've got a maternity issue. I've got a HR issue. I need someone, Josh, tomorrow. And they're desperate, and they're desperate hiring, which I don't think is a good way of recruiting anybody into a business, because you make quick, rash decisions, and they tend to be quick now, but they don't last. So I would say a business that is always hiring is somebody that's always seeing 2 or 3 people every single month, whether they've got a role or not, but they're building a subs bench of candidates in the back of their mind that they can go, actually, I've got a solution for that particular role if the worst should happen. So I think, the biggest issue we see is people hiring when they've got a real burning platform, when they're not hiring for tomorrow, which is what they need to be doing.
How long should it take, do you think? If someone asked you, in an ideal world, I need to get a new negotiator role out there, what do you normally tell people from start to finish as the timeline?
So depends on the need, depends on the role, depends on the geography. James, it's not a one shirt fits all, but we would say between 2 and 3 weeks max.
Right.
It would take us from start to finish. That's from doing a market map, understanding the talent pool in that particular area, that particular job set, wherever it may be, to interviewing, etc. But depending again on the role, you've either got a 4 weeks notice period, a 3 months notice period, or a 6 months notice period. So depending on the role and how senior it is, you've got to start planning that either 6-8 months before that, or at least within the sort of the last 6 weeks, to make sure that you can get somebody that's going to work to that time frame.
There's quite a process, isn't there? Even after they've signed the contract and they're going to start in the business, between them actually starting on their first day and actually fully being enveloped into the role and starting the work. Do you see problems with that sort of onboarding process that estate agents have?
Yeah, onboarding is really, I think, is a massive issue, and people don't look at it, and it's really underestimated, which is, we can find the best person out there, but if they're not brought in the best way, i.e. given the right foundations, they understand the tech stack, they understand the culture of the business, and they shadow or buddy up with somebody, then first, I would say the first month, 2 months are critical for the long-term longevity of that particular person. So spending the time understanding that individual, make sure they understand you, your culture, your benefits, how you do business, even if they've got 5, 10, 15 years experience, that is where they kind of win hearts and minds. So having a really robust onboarding process is absolutely key to retention as well.
Nice. Yeah, perfect. So to sort of wrap up the recommendations, the actionable steps, what if you had an agency struggling with recruitment? Do you have one piece of advice you'd leave this with?
Yep, speak to Rayner Personnel. No, with all seriousness, I think it's not just one piece of advice. I think it's look at your recruitment strategy, and I think, like anything in business, you need to make a plan, right? And you need to make sure you follow that plan, and you can't just hope that you're going to attract the best people. They're going to start tomorrow. You've got a plan. You've got a plan for the worst, which might mean that you might have 100% attrition that particular year. Where are you going to find these people? Who are you going to be speaking to? Have you got an onboarding process? Have you got an interview process? Lots of people just go, yeah, I'll see them on face value. I'll take people for a first and a second, because that's what everybody else does, isn't it? They see someone once, they see them twice. But it might be you bring them back and do a trial day or a trial couple of hours to see if they fit in with your company culture. Get them on the phone, get them out on a company valuation or reviewing, see what they're like before you make that hire. So I would say, make sure you have a real solid, robust recruitment strategy, first of all. Make sure you've got a really strong, robust interview policy, and you know where you're going with that, and you know what your onboarding strategy is as well. Because if you don't have them 3 things, you're dead in the water before you start.
Nice. Thank you. That's great. That's been really eye-opening. I think that's been really helpful. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for joining us. Little Birdie's told me that you've got an exciting new venture on the horizon. Is that something we can talk about today?
News travels fast. Yes, you can. Obviously, very, very under wraps at the moment, but you're absolutely right. Rayner Personnel has got probably a 10% market share, which is awesome. And we hang around with people that have got sort of 18 months plus experience. So senior negotiator, valuer, upwards. But there's 90% of the market that's not really recruiting, I don't think, in the most cleverest ways. They are relying, and I don't think that the industry's changed. If you look 20 years that I've been in it, an agent used to put a vacancy window card in their shop window, hoping that the best person would walk in and hand their CV in. And sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. And then it turned to the local newspaper. And in more recent years, it's turned to Indeed, taking your free job advert, and to LinkedIn and social media. And there might be some internal refer a friend schemes going. But I do think we've developed something that's quite cool, which basically is a platform that gives all of our clients access to thousands of pre-written AI-generated job descriptions. We've also built in an AI avatar to start screening people. So rather than spending an hour's time interviewing people, whether that be on Teams, Zoom, or in person, let technology do the heavy lifting. So an AI avatar. We've built in some psychometric profiling, which is benchmarked across the industry, literally numeracy tests as well. And then we've built in property mark. So property mark level 3 qualification to combat broker licensing. And I think HR also is going to be a huge issue in 2025 and beyond, with national increased minimum wage. You've got national insurance increase. And at some point this year, we've got the employee rights bill. So we put a HR wraparound in here as well. And based on what we just spoke about earlier with regards to perks and EVP, we've got a really good wellbeing and employee perk solution that goes into this model. So this is about a monthly recurring SaaS model for recruitment, training, and retention. So recruit, train, retain is our motto. And that business is called Inside Talent, which we're quite excited to launch in May of this year. So if you haven't had a look at the website yet, it's www.insidetalent.co.uk, and it's going to be hit out there in May. Thanks so much for the plug.
Wow, exciting stuff.
Very.
Thank you very much. Cheers for this, Josh. Thanks for coming on. Quick little plug for myself before we finish up. So we just started a new newsletter, the Estate Agency Tech Digest. It's on LinkedIn. We've had one post out so far, which is the AI conversation about how estate agents can use AI to win more deals and spend less time on the admin part of life. It's a big part of conversation. Everyone's talking about AI at the moment, so we sort of broke down some tools that estate agents are using. And the last video we just had on here was Mal McCallion from Model Prop as well. So get subscribed to the LinkedIn newsletter to see more of those sort of tech trends and things around estate agency. And thank you very much. Josh, if people want to get hold of you, how do they contact you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so Josh Rayner is my name on LinkedIn, or visit the Rayner Personnel website, which is www.raynerpersonnel.com.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Cheers, Josh.